Hello, my name is Selina Mangaroo. I was born and raised here in Queens, New York, and I was an explainer at the New York Hall of Science. I'm a recent college grad from St. John's University. I graduated with my bachelor's in computer science last May. And for the past year, I've been working as a front-end developer at my company, Whirl-i-gig. And we do work with museums, archives, and research by managing and cataloging their digital or physical collections. And yeah, I've been working there for about a year upon graduation. A lot of my job at the moment right now involves creating user interfaces for various applications. So while I don't necessarily have a lot of hands-on experience working directly with AI, and it's really not something I ever thought I would encounter, I am aware of how AI and machine learning techniques are making their way into the museum sector in order to solve certain problems that we face. And there are a few projects that we are working with currently right now that we're going to be using machine learning to help solve the issues that we have. So for example, I'll talk about one of the projects that we're working on right now. So we have various historical societies in Belgium that use our software to catalog anything that they find relevant, such as historical images. And in one of these historical societies, they loaded a ton of images into their database and they recorded them really well. They were super descriptive and they would be really useful if they ever needed to go back and reference an image. However, they ended up loading the wrong versions of the images. So they loaded in very tiny, very blurry, low resolution images when they really needed to upload the finished high resolution photos. So while they do have these high resolution images, none of them were labeled. So unfortunately, there was no way to tell which image belonged to which record. And the only way was to look through each record and to properly match it. And that would be very difficult since the images do have differences between them now. So the high resolution ones, they've been scaled, rotated, cropped, and color corrected, while the ones that they loaded with the records were very small and blurry. So that would definitely cause an issue, and perhaps they may make a lot of mistakes in matching them again. So the proposed solution would be for us to help them with their problem, would be to use image recognition to compare the low-res images with the high-res images that are going to be different and tell us which ones match, so we're able to load them to the correct records. And that's just a very practical example of how AI, more specifically like machine learning, is getting into the museum sector to just really automate these tasks. It was estimated to take about 6 to 8 weeks of 8-hour days if they were supposed to do that matching by hand. And when we're going to be able to do this, it's going to end up saving them so much time, so much money, and staffing resources that they just don't have. So saving time on these highly repetitive, large tasks like this is it's really critical. I would say the number one, most of all, problem solving. And I'll explain that in terms of how I think about when I have a problem. How am I going about solving this? What is the best way to do this? And am I able to do this with the resources that I have? Those are pretty much the two questions that I asked. So what is the best way to do this? Obviously, maybe I come up with a solution that, oh, this is going to be so great. But then I have to think about the other variables, such as, do I have the time to do this? Is this something that's feasible? Is this something that is going to give me the end result that I'm looking for? So I kind of break things up into those questions for myself. Like it needs to really meet all of that criteria. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but once that criteria is met, then I could justify to myself, this was probably the best way to go about doing something.